Good afternoon. I'm Dan Wathen, Chairman of the Independent Commission to investigate the facts of the Lewiston tragedy, and I'll call this meeting to order. We'll begin as we usually do by introducing the members of the commission who are present and the members of the staff who are present. So would you begin the introductions with Ms. Gorman?
Good afternoon. My name is Ellen Gorman. I'm a former member of the Maine Supreme Judicial Court.
Good afternoon. I'm Paula Silsby. I'm a former federal prosecutor.
Good afternoon. I'm Toby Dilworth. I'm a former Assistant United States Attorney for the District of Maine, and I'm in private practice in Portland.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeffrey Rushlow. I'm a former district attorney and a retired district court judge.
And good afternoon. I'm Deborah Bader. I'm a retired forensic psychologist.
And our staff.
Good afternoon. I'm Ann Jordan. I'm the Executive Director of the Commission.
Good afternoon. I'm Brian McMaster. I'm an investigator for the Commission, a retired chief investigator for the Attorney General.
We've convened.
Oh,
excuse me, Jim. I didn't realize you were here. I didn't see you.
Well, that's quite all right. I'm Jim Osterreiter. I'm a retired FBI agent, and I'm an investigator on staff for the Commission.
Thank you. We have convened this afternoon for the purpose of hearing testimony from Patricia Moloney, and I'll review the sort of the housekeeping instructions that we have. This is being interpreted by ASL interpreters simultaneously, and so there will be times when we will sort of have to stop for a brief second or two to allow the interpreters to change from one to the other. It's also the court reporting is going on, and this will all be placed on our website. People can watch it now, or they can watch it later by going to our website. Ms. Moloney, I see you here on the screen, and I'm glad to have you here. Would you raise your right hand and state your name? Your sound muted. Is not. You're muted. Still muted.
Still.
You're still muted, Ms. Moloney. Down in the corner, down in the left corner, there's a speaker, and if you click on that, it'll shut the mute off. You're still muted, yeah. You're still muted according to.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the problem is, but.
Ms. Moloney, if you go to the lower left-hand corner, drag your mouse down to the lower left-hand corner of your screen, and there's a picture of we lost her.
I'll shoot her a text. This is Attorney Pearson on behalf of Ms. Moloney. I know she's phoning in with her phone, so it wouldn't be via the browser or the application. But I guess I would ask, was she muted on your end of the Zoom? Can we narrow that down?
I think she was narrowed. Muted? She was muted on her phone.
Okay, so I'll confirm with her via text and see if we can work that out on her side with the app.
Thank you.
I see her on the thing, but it does appear she's still muted.
She also has the dial-in information. If we're unable to get her via, I guess, teleconference, would it be possible for her to call just, I guess, as an alternative? Okay,
However you can get her voice, that would be fine.
understood. Apologies, she hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Does she have a set of earbuds that would work with her phone? Because that may alleviate this problem.
I can certainly ask. I guess my reluctance is I imagine she's attempting to sort this out on her phone right now, and fielding a phone call from me might make it complicated.
Sir, I'm on the phone for the meeting. This is Patricia Moloney.
I do see a dial-in number. I can't confirm whether it's the number that I know her to have because it's not in front of me, but I do see a dial-in call. Obviously, I don't think she'd be able to participate with video like this, but.
Well, I just heard her introduce herself. Did nobody else hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ms. Moloney, you were on the phone
Yes, sir.
and you can hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
We hear you fine. And we were about to raise your right hand and state your name. You would do so?
Yes, sir. I raised my right hand. My name is Patricia Moloney.
And do you swear that in the matter now in hearing that you will testify to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Let me just give you a preliminary question before we turn to further questions. Perhaps you'd like to explain why you were failed to appear last week.
Because I was told that any communication that I received was to go to the Army, and I also did not receive the subpoena from Sterling Medical.
I didn't hear the last part of it. You did not, what was the subpoena?
I did not receive the subpoena from Sterling Medical.
Oh, who was your employer?
Sterling Medical. I work for WJM,
Okay.
but Sterling, but yeah.
The point of it is you say you did not receive the subpoena.
Correct.
And I'll leave to others to explore your employment situation. So I will turn now to Paula Silsby, who is a member of the commission, who has some questions for you, and then others may have as we go on. Ms. Silsby.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Moloney, where do you currently work?
I currently work at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Mostly I work at home. I work for the psychological health program that is out of USARC down at Fort Liberty.
And how long have you worked for the psychological health program?
It was 11 years in April.
And what is your position?
I'm the Director of Psychological Health.
Are you the only Director of Psychological Health in PHP?
No. There are others, and the other throughout the country. We do in our program.
Are you assigned a particular region?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
I'm with the 99th Readiness Division.
And do you understand Maine to, the state of Maine to be included in the 99th Readiness Division?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you mentioned earlier the name of your employer. You're not a Army employee, is that correct?
Correct, I'm a contractor.
And what organization do you work for?
What company I work for, you mean?
Yes.
I work for WMJ. That is part of Sterling Medical.
And how long have you worked for WMJ?
It's 4 years now, I think.
Who did you work for prior to WMJ?
I worked for A+.
Is that another medical contracting entity?
Yes, ma'am.
How long did you work for them?
3 years, I think it was.
So during the 11 years that you've been assigned to the PHP program, you've worked for a number of contracting agencies, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Moloney, could you tell us what your duties are as the Director of Psychological Health?
It's to assist soldiers and commands with whatever needs that they may have.
And that's limited to Army Reservists, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you a supervisor? Do you have people who work for you?
No.
So you're hands-on in that position?
Yes.
So directing your attention to July 20th of 2023, on that date, you received a telephone call from Jason Rogers.
Yes, ma'am.
And who is Jason Rogers?
He's the suicide prevention manager for the unit for the 104th.
And had you, in the course of your 11 years with PHP, have you had an occasion to interact with Mr. Rogers before?
I don't know. I talk with many entities.
Sorry. Have you finished your answer? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, yeah, I finished my answer.
Okay. And what was Mr. Rogers contacting you about?
He was about Sergeant Card.
And why was he the person that was contacting you? How did he come to be involved?
To be honest, I don't know. He contacted me, and because many units have our contact information, so he contacted me to ask about Sergeant Card.
And what did he tell you in that telephone conversation?
Because it was a year ago, I don't remember the particulars or the specifics, but he had wanted assistance for the soldier and the commander.
All right. Is that all you can remember about the phone call?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand whether Mr. Rogers was an Army employee or a contractor like yourself?
I didn't know. I mean, all I know is that he was the suicide prevention manager for the 104th. So I didn't know if he was a civilian or a soldier.
So what was decided upon in that conversation?
Well, he, I don't remember everything that was said. He told me about the soldier, and then what I did was contact my team lead because she's the one that assigns the soldiers, CCIRs, and I wanted to make sure that the soldier was not assigned to another team member. And my team lead told me that soldier was assigned, and then I have no further, I stepped back. There was nothing more for me to do.
Okay, let's go back and unpack that answer a little bit. You said you contacted your team lead. Who did you contact?
Stacy Faig.
And who is Ms. Faig?
She's my team lead. She oversees our team.
Right. And your purpose in contacting her was to see if Mr. Card had been assigned to another psychological health director?
Or a nurse case manager, because we have nurse case managers, and there are RNs on our team as well.
And Ms. Feig told you that he had been assigned to somebody else?
Yes, ma'am.
And who did she tell you he'd have been assigned to?
Carrie Sanford.
And do you know Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Where does she work?
She works for the 99th, like I do. She's an RN, and she's located in West Virginia.
And after being told by Ms. Feig that Mr. Card had been assigned to Carrie Sanford, what did you do?
I contacted Jason Rogers to let him know that another team member would be following Mr. Card.
And did you have anything further to do after that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you have, or have you received some exhibits related to your testimony here today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If you would take a look at Exhibit 1. That is an email from Jason Rogers to you, copying Stacy Feig and Jeremy Reamer. Do you see that?
I'm pulling it up now. Mr. Pearson has sent me that information. Okay. And this exhibit one, what letter? Because there's one, and then you have
Yes,
A, B.
Exhibit 1.
Okay.
Do you have that in front of you?
You're talking about the letter?
The email, Exhibit 1. It should be marked Exhibit 1 in the upper right-hand corner.
Yes, ma'am, I have it.
All right, and that's an email from Jason Rogers to you, correct?
Yes.
And Stacy Feig, who you just indicated oversees your team, was was copied, as well as Jeremy Reamer. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
So did you know who Jeremy Reamer was at the time you received this email?
No, ma'am.
So Mr. Rogers thanks you for taking his call that morning and indicated that he was looking for PHP support for the soldier who you understood to be Mr. Card, correct?
Yes.
And his commander.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then he identifies the commander as Captain Jeremy Reamer and provided what in my copy and the copy you have has been blacked out, presumably Mr. or Captain Reamer's telephone number.
Yes.
All right. Then he said, I understand the soldier remains in an inpatient status. Is that what the email says?
Yes, ma'am.
And he says, please let me know if there's anything I can assist with. I've included the commander on the email, although the best way to get a hold of him is via text. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So after receiving the email from Mr. Rogers, well, let me back up. Attached to this email was Exhibit 1A.
Paula, they're changing interpreters.
Thank you. Okay. All set to go?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So attached to the email was a critical incident report dated July 18th, 2023. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you review that when you received Mr. Rogers' email?
Most likely I did, because it was part of an email.
And he indicated to you the background that led to a command directive being issued by Captain Reamer. Is that consistent with your memory?
Yeah, well, it's in the CCIR.
Correct. And
Yeah.
that the psychologist at Keller had stated that he believed Mr. Card was suffering from psychosis, and that as a result, he had been sent to 4 Winds for a full evaluation.
Yes, ma'am. That's in the CCIR.
So after receiving Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 1A, what did you do with those?
I did nothing because Carrie Sanford was, she had the case.
Did
So
you
she
forward them to Carrie Sanford?
No, because Stacy Fagg already had the CCIR. That's how it was assigned to her.
All right. And was taking a look at Exhibit 1B, was that also attached to your email? That's a email from Michael.
No, ma'am.
To
Paula, we're having some problems with your internet connection.
There you are.
I can't hear anything, sir.
We're having trouble with, just hold on. We're having some trouble with internet connection for Ms. Silsby, so just hold on.
Paula, you may want to sign out and sign back in.
Looks like she just did.
Okay.
We can see you, Paula.
Yes, I apologize.
Okay.
This
That's okay.
technology is going to be the end of me. I apologize, Ms. Moloney. So I believe my last question was whether Exhibit 1B was also attached to the email you received from Mr. Rogers.
No, ma'am.
It was not. Okay. So what, based on your 11 years of experience with PHP, upon receiving an email such as Jason Rogers, what would be the protocol given
Well,
what he...
Okay. May I answer, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Okay. When I receive a phone call from, whether it's from suicide prevention manager, leadership about a CCIR that was written in a critical incident like this, again, I contact my Stacy Fay, my team lead, to make sure that soldier was not assigned or was assigned to another team member. And again, if that soldier is already assigned, if she already, assigned that soldier to one of my team members, then again, I step back because they're already working that case.
And if the soldier had not been assigned to another team member, what would you do?
Well, then I would work that case.
Which would involve what?
It would be speaking with the commander, speaking with the soldier when he would be released from the hospital.
And is that, as you understand it, the appropriate protocol when one receives an email such as Jason Rogers?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever speak to Corey Sanford about this matter?
No, ma'am.
Other than Stacy Feig, did you ever speak with anybody else about this matter?
No, ma'am.
And what do you understand, Ms. Moloney, based on your 11 years with PHP, the protocol to be if you have an uncooperative reservist, somebody who isn't returning phone calls or responding to outreach attempts?
I would contact the commander and to let him know the soldier isn't responding.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So your involvement with this case, as you just testified, was very limited.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. I don't have any further questions, Ms. Moloney.
Anyone else have questions?
I just have one or two, I think. Ms. Moloney, this is Ellen Gorman. Good afternoon. Did you take any notes at the time that you spoke with Jason Rogers on the telephone?
No, ma'am, because I said the case is already assigned to Carrie, so there was no need for me to take notes at that point.
So did you review any documents or anything else to prepare for today's testimony?
Only the CCIR, whatever the exhibits were, and that's it, ma'am.
And it was based upon that you recalled the conversation that you had with Stacy?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
It was based upon reviewing the exhibit that you recalled your conversation with Stacy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Anyone else?
Anne's got one.
I've got
Yeah.
one, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ma'am. You just told Paula Silsby that if a reservist is not cooperating, you would contact the commander. How would you contact them?
By phone, first by phone or by email.
All right. And once this matter was assigned to Stacy Fine, do you know, or did she tell you if she had any either phone or email contact with Captain Reamer?
No, and it was with Carrie Sanford.
I'm sorry.
Who was assigned to. Yes, no, ma'am.
So you don't know whether she had any contact?
No, ma'am, because again, like I said, I had no further part. I stepped down. So any contact and all is done with the team member, like say Carrie. She would be with her and you know, commander, soldier, because I don't have any part of that.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Deborah?
Thank you. Just one quick question. Who supervises Carrie Sanford?
That would be Stacy Fay is our immediate team lead. And then our Colonel Brown, who is, she's the director of the whole program. So, and Captain Zeiger, who is her deputy. So they oversee the entire program, PHP program, but Stacy is our immediate supervisor, so to speak. She's our team lead.
So Stacy probably was kept apprised. Is it reasonable to assume that Ms. Feig was kept apprised of whatever work was happening or not happening between Carrie Sanford and Sergeant Card?
Yes, ma'am. If there was a problem, Carrie would contact Stacy.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Moloney, you've made reference to CCIR a couple of times, and perhaps members of the public won't know what that is. Could you just tell us what you're referring to?
That's the critical incident report.
Okay, thank you. No further.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
a couple of questions. Ms. Moloney, I'm Jeffrey Rushlow, and was this CCIR one that was authored by First Sergeant Kelvin Moat?
I don't know, sir.
Did you recall any details contained within the CCIR?
Just what, like I say, whatever was written, I can look and see who wrote it from the CCIR I have from the exhibits.
Oh, just to be clear, Ms. Moloney, the CCIR is Exhibit 1A?
Yes, ma'am. That's the critical incident report.
Yeah, ma'am, are you looking at that now?
I'm sorry, sir.
Are you looking at the CCIR right now?
Yes, I am.
I think you were looking.
Yeah, it was, whoever wrote it on there as, as the report was approved by First Sergeant Moat, who actually wrote it. It was prepared by a Mr. Cary Getchell. Like I say, he was
Okay.
the ARA. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not, who writes them up. within the, the command, the leadership.
All right, and I have some unrelated questions which may really show our being confused and mistaken about something, but we had understood that part of your concern about appearing last week was that your employer had received a notice of claim from some lawyer asserting malpractice. Are you familiar with that?
No, ma'am. No, sir. Not at all.
Nothing at all?
No.
Okay. Does the RN who you were told was actually assigned to the case, Ms. Stanford, does she work for the same civilian contractor as you, if you know?
She's either with WJM or she's with Sterling Medical. I don't know which company she's assigned to.
Are all the members of your team all working for the same contractor, if you know?
Yes, we're either with Sterling Medical, and then some of us are with WJM. And like I said, I don't know what team member is with who.
How many people are on your team?
I believe we have, it's either 18 or 19 on our team.
And that's just for the 99th?
Oh, no, that's the entire psychological health program. For the 99th, there's 4 of us.
I see. So it's for the entire nationwide reserve program is 18 to 20.
Yes, sir.
And we heard from Colonel Mark Ochoa several weeks ago. What is his relationship to PHP?
You would have to speak with Colonel Brown about that, the USARC.
Okay.
That's where he's located, so I don't know.
Colonel Brown is located at Fort Liberty?
Yes.
All right. So, and this is another unrelated question, but Mr. Rogers was identified to you as the suicide prevention manager for the 104th?
Yes, sir.
And is that a position that is in every division that you work with? Each division has a suicide prevention manager?
I'm not aware. I really don't know.
Okay, thank you. We've heard for years about the very disturbing prevalence of suicide among service members. And so is that a major focus of the PHP program, is to try to provide treatment to service members who might harm themselves?
Yes. Are you with the committee, sir?
Commission, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, I just want to make sure who I was speaking with.
Yep.
So, okay, can you repeat your question?
Is the prevention of self-harm among service members a large focus of the PHP program?
It's a good portion, yes, what we do.
And is, from your experience over 11 years, is it perhaps a far smaller fraction of that number of cases have involved people who might threaten harm to others?
To others, yeah, yes.
But are they all provided services of the same basic kind? You're trying to offer them services?
Yes, we do provide services, when we get the call.
When the concern is about the risk of harm to others, do the service members tend to be more difficult to provide services for?
I've never had to work with a soldier that was, specifically harm to others.
Okay. All right. Those are a random set of questions, and I thank you for bearing with me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Deborah, you had a question.
I do have one more question. Since the incident on October 25th, incidents, I should say, has Sterling Medical, WMJ, or PHP done a post-incident review or anything of that nature?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm sorry, this is Lieutenant Colonel McKeel. I just want to say that that question is outside the scope of her authorization. She's authorized to speak as to her personal interaction with the command and the unit and Sergeant Card if that occurred. But as to this, more broad question, that's be outside of this.
and I'd object to potential quality assurance privilege purposes as well.
All right, thank you.
And do you have something in addition?
No,
Okay. Any further questions from anyone? There was something that occurred to me. I just as a point of clarification for people listening in, you referred to the unit, and are we talking about the unit that is assigned that has an armory in Saco, Maine? Is that what you're talking about, Ms. Moloney?
The 104th?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I don't think that was clear, but everybody probably understood it anyway. So thank you. If there are no further questions, then we will dismiss you, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn the commission.
Chair, would it be possible for us to end the public meeting and have a conversation with Lieutenant Commander McKeel?
Is that Lieutenant Colonel McKeel, is that possible?
Yes, I can stand by after the public meeting.
I didn't hear you.
Sorry, yes, that I can stay after the public meeting.
And let me ask, Mr. Pearson, would you want to be included in that?
Well, I think that will depend on the question you're trying to ask Lieutenant Colonel McKeel to the extent. I'm not entirely sure if your questions are for her or for me, but I'm happy to stay on after as well.
Okay. Mr. Kelly, is it possible with our technology to close out for everyone except Lieutenant McKeel?
No. We'll have to end the public webinar, and I will send out a new link for a private meeting.
Okay.
That'd be acceptable.
And I will do that right now.
Then we will not adjourn at this point, and we will just suspend until we have a new link. And technology has not been our friend today, but it is not usually my friend any day. So, but it is still better than anything that we have available to us. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Ms. Moloney.
Yes, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Am I dismissed?
You are.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. All right,
Same to you.
bye.
So we
Okay.
should